we're back with the Good Work Show. It's your favorite host.
Yay. Exciting. And we're coming back strong with a really great guest.
Yes, we are. So we are on a kick to talk about sustainable fashion and how you can help the environment and how you can do that through the things that you wear. And so we will have one of our favorite new brands. We did an interview with them a couple weeks ago. And we're getting ready to show you, or we're getting ready to introduce you to the founder of the Roman Supply Co., Abraham, who's going to talk to us about his brand and why it's so unique, and then something really cool that we're doing with him.
Yeah, so really excited to hear his backstory and how this is like one of those, it's like one of those COVID stories, like things that I think I guess there's a book to be written at some point called COVID Stories, and all of the things that were, well, like all of the ideas and companies and things that started during COVID, and where people had a little bit more time to sit down and think or do something different. So one of those great stories, a positive story out of that time, something that he and his wife worked together on, and just a really, really cool guy, cool company. And we're excited to introduce you to him, and then also share with you where you can come see it in person for yourself.
That's right. So I guess without further ado, let's hear from Abraham. Let's roll the video. And welcome back to the Good Work Show. We're excited because we are talking about something that I don't know that we've ever tackled on the show yet. We've talked about fashion and we've talked about sustainability, but I don't think we've ever talked about sustainable fashion. So excited to have our guest today, who is Abraham Corrillo, who is the founder of Roman Supply Company. Welcome.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So sustainable fashion. So before we get into Roman Supply Company, tell us about sustainable fashion. So for folks who are listening who aren't really familiar with the term, don't really know, give us sort of the lay of the land definition and kind of explain what that means.
Yeah. I was new to that sustainable fashion like 4 or 5 years ago. And I kind of stumbled into what that was when I was working at Buckle. I don't know if you guys know what Buckle is. Like I used to be a sales representative for Buckle. So I was in like a fashion store, and I was just wondering about manufacturing and like making clothes. And as I like dived into that world, I realized there's a ton of waste, like a ton of waste. And I didn't know about that. I thought like they were going to, like, people when they manufacture clothes use everything, and they don't. And so there's a ton of waste. And I had no idea that most of our like waste contribution is in the clothing market. I had no idea, from like dyes to like to even just like fabric and cotton, just so much waste. And so then I stumbled on to sustainable fashion, which is like the process and the almost like the marketplace of taking that waste and saying, how can we reduce it by either reusing, recycling, or even this beautiful word, upcycling, taking things that have existed for a long time, redesigning it with creativity and giving it a longer life. And so like kind of finding out like sustainable fashion is making fashion not kind of reducing our waste footprint, and making the fashion, by it being sustainable, making it longer, live with more intention, more purpose, instead of just like, hey, let's just create stuff and poop it out, kind of. But that's what we call fast fashion. And like brands that kind of make things in the thousands with low quality, so they all fall apart quick enough and people are just throwing it away, giving it away, or whatever. So sustainable fashion is like the opposite of that, taking all those things and saying, let's make this live for multiple generations, this one item. And I think a really cool culture that does that well that we learned about is from Japan. They have this really cool style called boro boro, and they take it's the same generational like kimono, and if it was your father's kimono, you don't throw it away. They would take it and keep patching on it, patching on it, patching on it. So if your father was a farmer and there was holes and rips in it, they would say, oh, no, let's put a patch on it. And then you would just put a patch on it, patch on it, patch on it. And then when you die, you would pass it on to your son. And then your son would do the same thing. And then your son would do the same thing. And now these old, poor farmer kimonos are now worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because the family did not believe in waste. They were like, we're not going to throw it away. We're going to keep adding to it. And it actually creates this beautiful work of art. And we kind of saw that as we started into the world of fashion. And that kind of led us into sustainability.
That's really cool. So I was doing some research a little while ago, a couple years ago, and I learned about not necessarily the sustainable fashion side, but what the fashion industry does to the environment, that it's only second to the petroleum industry when it comes to
Wild.
impact on the environment. And it's the water waste, it's the dyes, it's the micro, whatever, those petrochemical, the forever chemical things that live in our water from the, which I was, really, it was actually kind of disturbing. Washing like polyester and those kind of materials, it leaves those little particles in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just drinking
They
polyester
take
pants.
forever, forever to even go away.
So now we're all drinking our fashion as well as wearing it. So that's, not disturbing at all. So tell us though, how that knowledge impacted what you're doing now. So you were working at Buckle, and I do kind of remember Buckle, I think. And so you're working there, but you started to see and learn how, the fashion industry and that kind of stuff is impacting things. So how did that impact you moving forward in kind of starting this new initiative?
Well, while I was working at Buckle, I was like, man, I've always wanted to be a fashion designer. I was a stylist at the time and a personal shopper for a lot of people. But I was like, man, I want to make my own clothes, but I just don't know how to do that. I don't know how to go about manufacturing. And when I dove into that and saw the waste, I was like, I don't think in my good conscience and in my just character and integrity, I was like, I don't think I want to add to a problem that already exists. Also just kind of growing up from a culture, being first generation Nicaraguan and being immigrants, my mom never wasted a thing. She patched my jeans. She would be like, don't throw that away. And so I just kind of took just my background and who I was like, I don't like how wasteful fashion is because it's very, very wasteful. So I was like, how can I have this happy medium? And then I saw this brand that Buckle had called Gimmicks, I think. And it was it looked like patchwork. It looked like it was upcycled, but it wasn't. It was still manufactured. And I said, oh, I hate that. And so I kind of stumbled onto it when the pandemic hit. I was working at Zoomies, and this is when people weren't spending a lot of money. They still had money, and they were being creative, and a lot of businesses started during the pandemic. But I was just being very frugal. I was like, hey, I'm not trying to spend a lot of money. I'm going to work somewhere. And even when we worked there, it was a lot of restrictions. Barely anybody was at the mall. And I was just like, man, I want a new pair of pants, but I don't like anything I see. Like every time I went shopping, I hate all the stuff I see. So I went thrifting. I went to Goodwill, and I just found a really cool pair of military looking pants. And I have my favorite pair of jeans. So I cut them in half and put them together and put some patches on it. And I was just like, hey, you know what? I ain't got money to spend. I'm gonna make my own thing, and we're gonna rock it. And I go to the mall, and all day everyone's like, dude, where did you get those pants? Can I buy those? And they thought it was in the store. I was like, no, it's not in the store. And it was just all day. It was so annoying. And then when I was leaving the mall, this one guy was like, hey, I need those pants, dude. Whatever, how much? And I was like, I just wanted to throw a big number out there because I wanted him to leave me alone. So I was like $250. And he was like, all right, bet. Pulls out the money, gives it to me. I take my pants off in the middle of Perimeter Mall, and I'm wearing pink underwear. And so I go to Aeropostale, I buy some shorts, and I'm like, man, I just got like reverse mugged. And my wife picks me up and she's like, what happened? And I just have this like light, like, girl, I know how we're gonna make it like through this pandemic. And so from there on, my wife's like this professional seamstress. And so we started to put our heads together, but we didn't have money, like big money to like manufacture or even buy like bulk fabric. Like that's expensive. So we were like, and what's our fabric? And Goodwill was the only local option. And so we were like, let's go to Goodwill. And from there, we just started to see that all these clothes from all these people, they could either keep happening in this never-ending cycle, you know, or we can join in on that cycle and make something new. And it forced us to be more creative than actually just buying regular fabric, because we had to work with what we had. And that actually forces you to be even more creative than just getting blank fabric. And it actually turned into like happy accidents to create the brand that we have because of us working with each garment. And then we realized, we're like, man, not only are we having fun and doing this, but it's like we're adding very little tiny waste compared to what I could have been doing if I manufactured or went with like Alibaba or some manufacturer. I was like, man, this just feels a whole lot better because we are. And then we can tell people, we're actually sustainable. We're truly sustainable. We're taking the buttons. We're keeping every button. When we cut a shirt, we cut the buttons. We were like, let's use everything. Let's figure that out. And kind of, it's funny. It's like convictions kind of pushed us there, but we kind of fell in there too because of life circumstances and everything else around us.
Yeah. Okay, so the pants thing, do you have a picture of the pants? Because at this point,
I know, right? I need to show you. I gotta find it.
Please show us the pants, but apparently you no longer have them, which is a good thing. But
I sell those things and I miss them out all the time because I miss everything I sell. It's like painters probably feel the same way when you paint something and you're like, and you sell it, you're like, dude, that is like, I gave my time to that, my attention. So yeah, I miss those things.
Yeah. Well, so the good news is that we've got 69 stores and you come and shop all the time. So you can probably find something similar and maybe make more of it, but you've got a whole brand around this. So you kind of sort of alluded to it a little bit where the light bulb went off, you sold the pants right off of your body. Yes. And then ended up like creating this wonderful, kind of cycle of good and sustainability through fashion with your wife, which is really cool in itself. So you can have a family business.
Oh yeah.
So tell us about Roman Supply Company. Where'd you get the name? Do people, can they buy your stuff? Do they have to find you in the mall and like say, hey, I want to take this off, I want to buy it off of you? Like, how do we get the Roman Supply Company fashion and how do we tap into the brand?
Yeah, so like Roman, because my wife is from like Rome, Georgia. And in my pursuit of like figuring out who I was and journeying, I kind of ended up in Rome. I'm not a native to Rome at all. And I worked at this little country store flipping burgers, and here she is, the cashier. And so I'm putting on game. I'm trying to rizz her up, and we end up being together. And I find out that she's a seamstress. And I was like, no way, I'm a personal shopper. I like buy clothes for people. I love clothes. And we kind of use that as our medium. So we called the brand Roman because after we got married, we were like, man, what's this brand going to be? Because we started making little clothes here or there just for like, she would like make dress shirts just for me. She would make them from scrap and just pull them together and make me dress shirts. And I was like, man, like if we ever had a brand, we got to name it Roman, because that's where we fell in love. We fell in love in Rome. And also we were like playing on the word Rome. When Rome was an empire, if you were somebody who lived in the Mediterranean for the first time, because they were an empire, you could actually own something from Africa because they created trade routes. And so they were like, I can have something that is foreign, but domestically for me here. And I can get spices from India and I don't even have to go to India. And so like a lot of our brand actually has a lot of Eastern influences. So if you see our brand, it has a lot of kimonos. It has a lot of, we've even made dashikis. We've made all kinds of different cultural. I'm from, because I'm Hispanic, we've made ponchos. We've made even almost like tunics because my father's Muslim. And so we just took all these vibes, just for like Eastern vibes. And that's kind of the essence of Rome. When Rome was an empire, anyone could have owned anything at any time, at any place, because of the open opportunity. And so for the first time, people were experiencing other people's culture. And so for me and my wife, because we got married and we're from two different cultures, we were like, let's blend it and let's make this brand be a full supply store. And so we don't just make really cool, awesome statement pieces, which is a lot of what we do. We make bags, we make hats, we make accessories. We're working on shoes. We make even almost like big bags and book bags and pants and shirts and women's wear, men's wear. We have kids wear coming out soon. We're working with our fur babies now, and so we're like, let's do everything, like down to every part of the family, so that we're a full supply store. And so that's kind of the journey we've been on, and that's why it's called Roman and Supply. And from there, the brand has kind of evolved to us kind of finding our voice, finding who we are. So we realized we're not going to scale big and be this mass produced manufactured company, because it's just not in our core values. Like we know what it does. It produces waste. And if we get there, we have to get there in the most sustainable way possible. And so we're like, let's scale to our core values. So if it's not going to be sustainable, if it's not going to have quality, then we're not going to do it. And so we're very much so low quantity. We just make what we can make with the fabric that we get. And so people purchase from us. Believe it or not, we have no online sales, none at all. We only do markets all over Atlanta or wherever we're invited. So Fashion Week, we'll go to Fashion Weeks and stuff like that, and visit other states. But our biggest thing is we've been blessed that word of mouth has like been the biggest thing. Our clientele's changed because of this. We realized people want sustainability.
Mhm.
And if they were more educated on what brands they're purchasing from, they would know like, oh, like I don't think I would feel comfortable knowing that brand has a sweatshop over there and this brand is really hurting the environment. But when they know, especially Gen Z loves sustainability. When they know we're a sustainable fashion company, they purchase from us simply because of story and because of our integrity and our core values. And on top of that, we're like Eastern Americana, like streetwear, and they love that. And so all those together, people find us at markets, or if you know me, you know me. And that's actually the really coolest way, because we didn't think that it was going to take off. Like, man, how are we going to make these sales? How are we going to push it? But man, the right people started messing with us. We've sold to incredible people. The guy who married Kim and Kanye West, Rich Wilkerson's bought from us. We've had other Atlanta rappers, local people buy from us. Even just famous artists and painters. One of my really good mentors, Tiago Magro, kind of like believed in me and saw my fashion, and I saw his work, and we are at a party, and I threw up this coat and I said, paint on it, and he painted on it. And from there we became good friends, and he's just kind of been teaching me the way of navigating that world. But it's just been so cool just where we've been, and how all the opportunities that have been coming, and the clientele. And so what's crazy is like the people who buy from us, they want the rarity. They don't want anybody having what they have. And so they even tell us, they'll be like, is this the only one you're making? You're not going to make another one of this. And we tell them, like, we will never make another one just like this. This is for you. This is yours. No one will ever own this ever again. And that's what we want. We want the people to feel like they found something extremely rare. And so to keep up with that, we keep our numbers low of how many we make. We are only word of mouth. And so that's kind of how we like to keep it. We actually don't want to be big and out there and, Instagram ads or selling on online. We don't want to do that. We want to be very, we're the person you call when you want something unique and rare.
That's really cool. And so that brings me to an exciting opportunity for our Goodwill guest, because we just heard that you can't find you and you're only in special places, but we can tell people where there is going to be a place where you're going to be and showcasing your, and you're saying sustainable fashion. I'm hearing wearable art, because what I'm hearing you talk about is you're creating art pieces. And I'm excited. So I'm excited for twofold. One, because the pandemic has changed the way everybody dresses. A lot of times, 100%. As my sister tells me, I'm in like yoga pants and a sweatshirt. However,
comfortability was big.
I do like finding really interesting pieces. So I'm really excited and intrigued to see what you're going to bring. And then you talked about the kind of East-West blending of stuff, and I'm thinking about my nephew. My sister lived in Japan for many years. Wow. And a lot of his fashion, those were his formative years. He was like middle school, high school.
Oh wow, that would change him forever.
So he loves that kind of thing, and I'm like, oh, I bet you there's something that you have that he would like. So I'm thinking about that too. But a place that everybody can see your work, and I think purchase some stuff if they like it, is going to be our upcoming Goodwill fashion show. So we are having a fashion show. It's going to be, I don't know
April
if it's
19th.
I think it's April 19th. I knew it was April 19th. I was just trying to think, is that actually Earth? It's Earth Week. We're just going to call it.
I think Earth Day
is on the 21st, I think.
Yeah, it's right after.
So we're going to call it Earth Week, because we can, it's our podcast. Who's going to stop us? So it's going to be at our Morrow store. I don't know what time it starts, but here's what.
It's like 6 to 7.
I'm glad you know, because obviously I missed that part of the memo. So we're going to be at our Morrow location on April 19th. There'll be tons of information about it on our Goodwill social, but I'm really excited to have you there, Abraham, showcasing your work and showing people what they can do with thrifting. Because we know for sure that the perception of thrift has changed dramatically in the last however many years. And people see it as ways to go find unique items, find things that they can wear kind of right off the rack. They find great deals, all that kind of stuff. We have seen people that have taken, the fashions and done other things with it. But I think what you're doing is probably to the next level and extreme. And we're really, really excited to have you there and see what you're doing. So for people who can't wait, like myself, are you actually on social though to show some of your items? So we know we can't buy it directly through social, but share with us where people can find to kind of get a little sneak peek about what you have to offer.
Yeah, so we post everywhere. And we've had people try to push us to sell online. We're like, no, we love the in-person experience. Everybody who buys from us actually become long-term, I hate calling them customers, long-term partners, because they realize they're like, I can only get this from you. And I want to work with you. And so every time we sell, it's a very personal experience. I even do stylings when I go to people's houses, and we're like, let's create an incredible piece together. And so, so we post on social media so people can see the art and see the work. And so you can catch us on Instagram. It's our biggest spot. And that's at Roman Supply Co. And that's it. And you'll see our recent collection, which is our favorite one right now. It's called Homelands. And it really blends in the American military vintage vibes with the Eastern and almost like very foreign stylings. And so what's really cool about that one too is most of that is thrifted at 2 places. It's at Goodwill and at my friend's store. I don't know if you guys watch Stranger Things, but at the last episode where they're like getting guns and stuff. And if I'm spoiling this for anyone, you've had so much time. You could have watched.
You've had plenty of time.
Get over it. And so but that's like my friend's little thrift store too. So we get from those places. But what was cool is that most of that was sourced, especially most of our camo and denim and khaki was all sourced from Goodwill. which was just so cool. And we were just like, man, just finding these unique pieces and pulling them together. But that collection is really awesome, and that one just came out. But we're almost sold out of that, and so we're about to move on to the next collection. But yeah, you can find us on the Instagram there, and then from there we kind of even if you want something, you just message me, and we create a way of us figuring out how to meet each other and do this. So it's not like buying art online. You really want to meet the artist. We want to meet the people and make sure that everything fits, everything works, all that cool stuff.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Abraham, for coming. So was that your wife in the background, by the way?
That
like,
was, yeah.
I'm getting ready to say, can you tell her so we can say hello? Like,
I can get her. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, we have to have her, and she's a big part of.
We've been talking about her
story and how it came to be. Now she's probably gonna hate me because she probably wasn't ready to be on camera. I would do the same thing. And so if she's like, no, I'm not ready. Oh, hey, how are you?
This is my son Arlo.
Hi, Arlo.
He started the baby line. So after he came, we were like, oh, we gotta make all his clothes.
Of course.
She'd be making him overalls and all kinds of cool stuff.
I will say,
what's your wife's name, Abraham? What's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby. Well, it's so nice to meet you, Gabby. Sorry we put you on the spot. I saw you walking. I said we can't not have the whole family here. So Arlo and Gabby, thank you so much for joining, and we love what you all are doing with Roman Supply Co. We're so excited that you're going to join us. Look at him. He's so cute. Okay, if y'all are listening to this and not watching us on YouTube, you have to see Arlo. He's cute. Is he wearing Roman Supply Co.?
No, not right now, but on our Instagram, you'll see him in our stuff. It's so cute. And we can't wait to be pushing that out like crazy. He started a lot of that creativity of like, oh, we got to get our kid in our stuff, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I can just say, I'm absolutely jealous that you have a seamstress living in your house.
Dude, all of my friends are like, dude, you have a cheat code. Like you can get.
For sure. Because I mean, seriously, I think about like how my life could be so dramatically different if I actually knew how to do anything useful.
You know what's great? She's been teaching me, and it's actually helped me like learn how to, because we're growing, we're expanding, like kind of like Goodwill puts on for the people, and they give people jobs. We're hiring young sewers, and that's going to be our next step, I think, like soon, just because we're trying to scale. But if we're going to scale, we're like, we got to be sustainable. We got to make sure we're doing this ethically. So that's
awesome.
That's been a blessing.
Awesome.
But we will help you. Like, hey, Goodwill does that. So if you need to find folks in that industry, let us help you find them so we can put some people to work. That'd be a great story to tell. But love the brand. Everybody, April 19th, you can find Roman Supply Co. at
the whole family will be there.
The whole family will be there. And I'm sure they'll be representing the brand well.
Oh yeah, it'll be in a cute little
office. Yes, and we just wish you the best. Thank you so much for what you all are doing to change the way that the industry is going and make an impact and bring it to, I love the family business aspect of it. And so I think that's such a cool story. Check them out on Instagram. We thank you all for being on the show today. And see you later, Arlo.
Bye. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.